Welcome to the Veneration podcast. Veneration is a fitness and nutrition coaching facility in Johnstown, Ohio, and while we obviously do the workout thing really well, we're obsessed with our town and with our community. On this podcast, we'll be covering local happenings, food and drink spots here in town, interviews with our awesome members and other local business owners in the area, and of course, we'll jam on fitness topics with our coaching team as well. If you're in Johnstown and looking to stay up to date with everything that's happening and learn a thing or two about how to enhance your fitness and nutrition along the way, go ahead and subscribe to our channel, give this video a thumbs up, and get notified when we release new episodes. If you or a friend would like to begin your health and fitness journey with us, you can click the link in the show notes to book your free new member consultation. We'll sit down with you, learn more about your health and fitness goals today, and we'll get you started on the path to the new you right now. Enjoy the show. I am super excited to have you on.
Oh, well, thank you for letting me invite myself.
You didn't, okay, you kind of did, but you were actually, I have a running list, which is essentially all of our members, right? But you, and I just have a list of all of our members in alphabetical order, but I have to push you right to the top, and I don't, coincidentally enough, so you came up in conversation in our team meeting yesterday.
Really?
And so I want to tell you something about you.
Okay.
That you might know, but maybe not. But it was a unanimous, like we were all in agreement of this. So I've known a little backstory on Lauren. By the way, we've started. Just so you know.
Okay.
See, I told you it's just a conversation. A little backstory on Lauren. I've known you for 6 years, right? I met you at Veneration. You're a Jersey Street OG.
Yep.
I know that you had a lot of CrossFit experience prior to us, which I'm excited to dig into, kind of, because I know there's a scary story in there. You might scare people off with one of your stories.
No.
So I said your last name wrong for like years, probably like 4 of the 6 years I've known you.
You know, everyone does. It's okay.
Say it.
Wearing a shirt.
Gotcha. So now I have it right.
Yeah.
I was like, I think I probably said Wehrung to your face, and you're like, so here's the deal. So here's the big one though. I have, like I said, I've known you for 6 years. I've seen you, you're in the gym more than 2 to 3 times a week, but I personally have seen you probably 2 to 3 times a week, per week, every week for 6 years. And I have never heard you complain.
Oh.
I have never heard you say anything but something positive. So much so, I'm pretty sure I've never had a neutral conversation with you. I've never had one that's just like, not good, not bad, whatever. It's always glaringly positive. And that is actually the reason that you came up in our team meeting. We were talking about our values. And at Veneration, we have 4 core values: happy, healthy, hungry, humble. And you embody all of those, most of which is happy. And so I'm excited to have you on today.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I think the biggest, the best way to set the stage for you is you're a new mom, which is awesome.
I am, yeah.
And I think you said you're sleep deprived today?
Very sleep deprived. Yeah, my little guy, well, he's 15 weeks old today, Jonathan, and he started sleeping through the night around 11 weeks. Okay. Before then, you just know it wasn't happening. But yeah, last night he woke up at like 12 and then 2 and then 4 and then 5:30. So
I think they call that a sleep regression.
Yeah, it feels like it.
And speaking from, so what I'm just like 2 years ahead. And it's a lot of up and down. Right now we are in one where he is wide awake at between 1 and 2:30 every morning. And then we try to do like be disciplined and like take him back to his bed, because like to not do that is just selfishly like, we just don't want to get out of bed. And most of the time it's that. And I took him to monster trucks, and he got his own little monster truck. Nice. And that thing, when he comes to bed, lives right here in my neck, because he sleeps with his monster truck. So I feel you.
Great. This is what I have to look forward to.
So here's something. I'm doing an experiment today with my coffee, and you made me think of this because of your sleep deprivation. Have you ever heard of bulletproof coffee?
I have, yes.
So now you might, like you likely know more about it than I do, because it's like a 24-hour-old thing that I just learned about, which is kind of funny since I'm in like the health industry and everything. Now is there a brand of bulletproof coffee? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. The only reason I know about it is through another podcast, the Barbell Shrugged. When
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
Barbell Shrugged, and they would talk about it a lot.
See, this is old news.
Right. It's been around for a little bit.
That's what I mean. I'm just in the dark. I've maybe heard of it. But you know of like the concoction that is bulletproof coffee.
Yeah.
Okay. I did that today for the first time.
Okay.
Which is why I'm wound for sound. So I apologize for like coming across the table at you with energy. I haven't crashed. It's 4 p.m. is when we're shooting this.
Yeah.
And I usually crash hard at 2. So up early, caffeinated, and then the crash comes.
Yeah, it hasn't come yet.
Bulletproof coffee.
Okay.
Get her done. I feel great.
Well, I should not be admitting that I did this today, but I had some energy drinks, Milani new energy drinks.
There's worse.
I had
There's
one when
worse.
I first woke up and one like an hour ago. So I'm
2
shaky.
energy drinks.
Yes.
So you are the opposite of the bulletproof coffee, which is jittery and caffeinated and
yes.
again sleep deprived.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's a good intro to you, and I'm gonna let you introduce yourself now, since I have been on my recurring, which has become recurring rant to start each podcast. So what I want to know, and this will give everybody a good pulse on you. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and I'll give you all 3 at once, and then we'll break them down. All right. I want to know if you could listen to one song, watch one movie, or read one book for the next 5 years.
Okay.
And let's start with song. Listen to one song.
So I put a decent amount of thought into this question, and I have a horrible answer.
I gave you the question ahead of time.
Yes, which is I get really sick of like a song really, really quickly and really easily. So I don't have a favorite one because I'd probably listen to something for a week and then be tired of it. So pretty much just anything upbeat that I could work out to is what I would say I could listen to for the next 5 years. So not like a ballad or anything like that.
So see, the point of these questions is to give people a pulse on you, and you just did that very well. And the key word being work out. So you need a good song to work out to. That tells us a lot about you.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. So my non-answer was kind of an answer.
It's the exact answer I was looking for. No. So let's do one book. What's the book?
Yeah. So I've read a lot of really good books in my lifetime, but I really enjoyed the book Ready Player One. I thought it was a really interesting story. So if I had to read the same book for 5 years, it'd probably be that one.
Now, is this fiction or nonfiction?
It's fiction.
Okay.
It's very good. You should read it.
Now, what would you say? I love this topic, and I always forget that the conversation goes here, and it always does, because I'm very interested in this. What is the ratio of like fiction to nonfiction that you read? Are you more commonly found in a?
Yeah, probably more fiction. So whenever I can like read for pleasure, it is more fiction books. At work when I'm reading, it's just like looking up new HR laws. So whenever I can, I'll read like a fiction book. Most recently though, I've just been reading parenting books. Yep. Because I, want to make sure.
That's very nonfiction.
Right, very nonfiction. It's like, when do I give my child food? What should I and should I not do?
How to keep child alive.
Pretty much, yes. So that's like taking up most of my reading.
I have mad respect for you and all the other people that I know that can dive into fiction head first. So there is a book on that shelf. It's right there. The Hike by Drew Magary. It's an incredible book. Like this is the only fiction book on that shelf. And I am like 7/8 of the way through for the last 2 years, like since the beginning of the shutdown, and it's a me thing, and I need to embrace fiction.
Listening to audiobooks has really helped me. I have an Audible membership, and that has helped me. So when I say read, I'm not necessarily sitting down and reading, because who has time for that?
Sure.
Especially when I worked at Green Growth and I had like a 40-minute commute each way, I would listen to Audible and listen to those stories.
For sure.
Yeah.
Do you listen to podcasts at all? You're on a podcast right now.
I used to, but over the past year, I've been listening to my parenting books.
Gotcha.
But yes, I did used to listen to podcasts.
So like, look, here we go again. That question gave us so much information. Like I just learned a lot. She's listening to parenting books. All right. And the final one is your go-to movie.
I feel like this is going to catch you off guard a little bit.
Okay.
So
I'm on the edge of my seat.
I really like a good Purge movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. That's good. I feel like if I say I'm not surprised, that's super insulting. Makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Just, killing people. Totally Lauren.
Here's the deal though. We've talked about this.
Have we?
There's no way we haven't because it sounds so familiar. Because I'm not surprised. Because we've had this conversation.
We probably have.
We've had to.
Yeah.
There's a new one, isn't there?
There is. I watched it yesterday. It's very good.
Now, because a couple of them sucked.
They did. I did not like the first one. The acting was horrible. Really liked the second and third. The fourth one was okay, but this fifth one was very good.
One of them was I felt, and I have no clue which one, but I felt like it was like they were reaching. Like it almost seemed like really unrealistic. Because, so you said that you thought the acting in the first one was not good.
Yeah.
The first one got me. I was like, oh, I can believe this whole thing.
Oh, really?
It was the one, whatever. I don't know. They had like really like weird, like I want to say like a girl had like a neon mask or like paint, like neon. You like that one?
They all have that. That's part of the purge thing. You dress up and look just like ridiculous and scary.
Okay, cool. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I should dive back in. Beautiful answers to all the questions, and I'm kind of concerned about the last one, I suppose, if that's really telling about who you are. No, that's good. Lauren, I'm going to give you a really open-ended question because I want to give you a chance to just talk about you.
Sure.
I've been on several podcasts myself. I've been in different interviews, and I feel like you leave them and you're like, man, I would have loved an opportunity to talk about this, XYZ. So I want to open up, and I just want to get the Lauren story. Like, where are you from? What are you into? And then we'll dig in from there.
Okay. So I am originally from the Cleveland, Akron area, Richfield, Ohio. Spent most of my life there, my childhood there. Grew up as an only child. I don't have any siblings.
Did not know that.
Yeah, only child. Grew up with my mom and dad. Growing up, we always had a golden retriever. It sounds like so stereotypical. Hold on a minute.
It's like white picket fence, golden retriever.
Yeah, right. We didn't have the fence though.
Okay.
We had a swamp next to us, and there was a really angry snapping turtle that lived in it and chased my dad once. But anyways,
golden retriever.
Yeah, story for another time.
Gotcha.
I grew up in Richfield, Ohio. I went to about 7 different schools growing up.
Really?
It was never intentional, but I jumped around from school to school. Most of it was just because, we moved. One time I was actually bullied in the 6th grade.
Okay.
So I left that school after 3 months, went to another one. So that's just a random fact about me. I went to John Carroll University, got my bachelor's in industrial organizational psychology.
Okay.
Yeah, back in 2012. I'm aging myself there.
I want to pause real quick.
Sure.
Industrial
organizational psychology.
Was that your initial major?
No, it was not.
How many times did you change your major?
So I don't know if I necessarily changed my major. Let me backtrack. I changed my track. So I wanted to go into clinical psychology, wanted to help people. Sure. But then I started working at Nordstrom Rack when I was in college, and I really liked the business side of things. It was something I never knew about. So I did a little bit more research, found this industrial organizational track. So I was able to go into that without actually changing my major. So it was psychology, but with more of a business focus.
Cool.
Yeah, so I have a minor in business.
Awesome. Okay, proceed.
Yeah. So then I got married in 2015 to my husband, Dan, who you've met.
Dan's the man.
You see us walking around the neighborhood with a big fluffy dog. We moved down here in 2015. So Dan has a PhD in integrated pharmaceutical medicine. So his field is very specialized. And because of it, there are only certain places he can work.
Gotcha.
So he got the job down here in New Albany. And then we moved down here, and we've been here ever since.
Sweet.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, we have a 15-week-old son that we just welcomed. He's our first child. We have Moby, our giant 160-pound Newfoundland dog.
That is an understatement. Giant is an understatement. That thing looks like a bison.
Yes, yeah. No one's going to mess with me. It's funny because I take him for walks around here, and people make comments. They're like, oh, no one's going to mess with you with that dog. I'm like, no, they're not. And that's part of the reason why I wanted a Newfoundland is I wanted something, to look scary whenever I was home alone. But he's the nicest dog. He's so sweet.
He's awesome.
Yes.
He's I've been around him many times. I think he was at a workoat.
Yes, and he knocked Rocco over.
I think that's.
And I felt so bad.
He's just big.
He just walked at him and knocked him
He's
over.
just a big being. So he didn't do anything wrong. He's just big.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you have applied, or if you have applied that degree. What is your career? What are your passions, and what do you do?
Yeah, sure. So I work in human resources. been in human resources since 2011 when I had my college internships. So yes, my degree does lead to that. Yeah, right now I'm a senior HR generalist at Trillium Farms. I've had multiple jobs, very stereotypical millennial, just bounce from job to job.
I wanted to talk about that. Continue.
Yeah, so I've been at Trillium. This is my second time at Trillium, actually, for a little over a year now, and it's going really well.
Something that I have admired from afar, we've probably talked about this very briefly, but I know for a fact that I have like talked with Courtney about this, with you being the subject, and I think that it is super awesome that, and I've been to work. We've had meetings with because you're in HR, and we're talking with your bosses and stuff about fitness and health, and all of that to say, I've watched you like pour yourself into your work, right? Like go in. I'm not going to nail what I'm trying to say, but like just like full effort. Okay, here, let's put it in layman's terms. Yeah. Lauren doesn't do anything half-assed. She does it full-assed. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? But then also when opportunity arises, and if you're feeling restless, which I think is very interesting that you talked about school to school growing up, right? If opportunity presents itself, you're very good at looking at things black and white and taking risk and taking a leap. And I think like you're at Trillium right now. That's back at Trillium, right? So there's so many great lessons there. It's like there's just to like take risk, make a move.
I'm very open to change. I think a lot of that does come from when I was, a child, just moving around a lot, and also just being an only child and how my parents raised me. Is I am very open to change. Like I'm okay with taking an opportunity. Like if I'm in a situation that's not really good, and I will make every effort to make it better. And if I just can't, or there are circumstances outside of my control, then I'll leave. I'll find something else.
And I got to tell you that I'm just making these connections out loud and thinking out loud, but I just had Brad Boroff on the podcast, and we had a wonderful conversation. Well, I hope that he enjoyed the conversation as much as I did.
That'd be awkward if he didn't.
He's like, it was the worst. It's a drag. It just went on and on. It was great. And he talked about, and everyone can listen to that podcast. He talked about the amount of steps and a process that he has to go through to make change. So like I said, I'm making these connections out loud. My favorite part of doing this is, again, I'll say it again. I'll probably say it 15 more times in the next hour. I have known you for 6 years, and like to dig in and learn more about the people in my circle and the people that I love and care about and spend every day with, like it's super cool. And you're obviously like-minded with someone like Brad, right? We share this commonality, but so different in that regard. There's something to learn from all of us, and it's my favorite part about doing this. So,
yeah, definitely.
Super cool. Okay, so we've talked about like you're growing up, and we have talked about your profession. So some answers here may overlap, and that's totally cool. If I asked you like what's you're passionate about, well, what's the answer to that?
I'm not passionate about what I do. I like it. I'm content. And, I'm the type of person, if I'm going to spend 8 to 10 hours a day at a job, I'm going to do it well.
For sure.
Because for one, I need my job because, food. But also, you have people depending on you. So, you want to do a good job. So even though I'm not necessarily passionate about human resources, I like it enough. I care enough about, the people that I'm supporting to, put my best foot forward.
For sure.
And, I thought about this a lot. I've never been the type of person to think that I'm passionate about something. Like there are a lot of things that I really like to do. And that's also changed, as I've grown and gotten older. But I guess CrossFit would be something that I really like. I've been doing it for 9 years now. Something that, I love doing. I love getting better for multiple reasons. Another hobby that I've really gotten into probably since, my senior year in college has been autocross. As you know, my husband and we autocross. He's actually taken it to the next level and does track days. So that's cool. It's a lot of fun.
So cool.
Yeah. I highly recommend it. It's like terrifying, and I'm not really a thrill seeker, but it's a lot of fun.
Now that's really interesting. So you would not consider yourself like an adrenaline junkie.
I will not jump out of a plane. I will not do it.
So you're not on the chase for that. No. However, that's like the autocross it fills the cup.
Yeah. That's cool. I like roller coasters, but jumping out of an airplane, that scares me. I go like parasailing. That would be fun, but
cool. I've done that. That is fun. I've not jumped out of a plane.
Ugh, that's scary.
Cool. I'm going to pause the conversation real quick to share something with you that I genuinely believe can change your life. About a decade ago, I had an interest in trying out this CrossFit thing, but my only option was to go to a gym and get thrown into a group class with 20 other people who had been doing it for years before me. I was way in over my head. The workout was insane. I didn't know anything, and I felt really silly jumping in that way. I knew there had to be a better way, and there was a better way. My wife and I founded Veneration in 2015, and we created the Veneration Immersion program. That's 5 one-on-one 60-minute private sessions with your personal coach. We'll teach you the ropes and the lingo of CrossFit. You'll graduate VIP feeling smart, you'll know how to move safely, and you'll be prepared for success for years to come. Many people decide they don't want to come into class and they want to continue working one-on-one with their coach, and that's totally awesome. Veneration can be for everyone, but group class isn't. This is CrossFit done right. Click the link in the show notes to book your free new member consultation so that we can sit down to learn more about your health and fitness goals today. Now back to the show. Cool. Well, hey, let's do this. I want to talk about your CrossFit story.
Sure.
Because there's a couple things. There's no way that someone does something for 9 years and doesn't thoroughly enjoy it, or that it hasn't had some kind of, I would imagine, profound impact on one's life. Okay. So I'm going to poke around about your CrossFit story a little bit, and specifically like your Veneration story, because we're talking to someone who has who went to 7 different schools, who if they're not content and they're unhappy with something, they're fleeting, they're gone. And you've been with Veneration for a very long time. You're one of our longest tenured members. So I'm excited to learn some things about that. So when did you start CrossFit? You said 9 years. So when would that be and why?
Yeah, so I started CrossFit back in 2012 when I graduated college. And, when I was in school, I would just work out at the school gym. It made sense. I would just kind of aimlessly wander from machine to machine. No idea what I was doing. But, it was something. So when I graduated, I was like, man, I need to find something. I can't be driving up to John Carroll. It was an hour from my house. So I was talking with one of my friends, and she's like, I joined this CrossFit gym in Akron for the summer. You should check it out. I'm like, what's CrossFit? I never heard of it. Sure. So I called the number. I was talking with the head coach. Super nice guy. He was talking to me about CrossFit, and of course I asked, I'm a college kid, how much does it cost? And he's like, we'll talk about that when you come in. So it's expensive. Yes. So they gave me the address, and so I go to this place in West Akron. And it's in the back of a strip mall. It's not even in the front of the strip mall. It's in the back of the strip mall. So I'm like, is this legit? Am I okay? So I pull up, it says CrossFit Akron.
You're either going to get a good workout in or you're going to become fast food.
Right, exactly. Yes. So I walk in, and the gym was probably about the size of, the Jersey Street gym. And, I had a rig, had barbells, places for wall balls, everything. A workout was going on. So I meet with the head coach, just fill me in a little bit more about CrossFit. And he's like, we're going to do this workout just to see where you're at. And if I remember correctly, it was a certain amount of squats, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, or jumping pull-ups, and then rowing. And I had to do a certain amount of those. And whenever I got done. So I finished in 7 minutes. And I remember we were talking, he went through the pricing with me, which was insane. And then he told me that they had, if I wanted to do it, they had an on-ramp program, which they made everyone go through. It was 3 days a week for 2 weeks for about $200.
Gotcha.
I was like, okay. So he's like, go home, sit on this, digest it, give me a call back. So I went home, and the next day I couldn't move.
From your first.
Yes,
yeah.
I was so sore, just from doing air squats.
Yep.
I was so sore. I'm like, I got to do this. This was a really good workout. I have to do this. So I signed up.
So I love hearing the answer to this question. And I obviously, I enjoy searching for this. So there was a gap there that needed bridged. You were likely, I know it's a long time ago, but you're likely going and you're thinking like, okay, a 24-hour gym is like $20 a month, and you know, a traditional whatever gym, like a nice big box gym, is maybe $45 a month, and you go in and they're like, it's $200 to get started, and it's likely like $150 a month or something to continue, and that's probably extremely overwhelming. You're fresh out of college.
Yeah.
Do you have your first job yet?
No.
Okay, so you don't have a job yet.
I have a job. I shouldn't admit that.
And you go home, and then 12 hours later you wake up and you can't move. Explain to me what happens in one's mind to bridge that gap. What, I imagine if you're going to spend that kind of money, you see value. And what was that for you?
Well, I guess the first thing was I was just very concerned that I would not be self-motivated enough to go work out to like one of those box gyms. So it'd be nice. It's like, hey, if I'm paying all this money, I better go in and get a workout. And then the second thing was I really liked, you know, just how CrossFit was set up, how every day was a different workout, which I thought was really cool because kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, you know, I like change. I get bored easily. So that was a huge part of it for me. And then also they had the nutrition component too. And I think were doing like Whole30 at the time. And just they had like a bunch of different events, and it just seemed like a really cool environment. So it just seemed like something I wanted to be a part of.
Awesome. That's there's so much.
Did that answer your question, or did I just ramble?
No, well, there's so much to unpack. There's so many things, right? So you talked about the accountability piece. So you know, we say all the time, like most of the time, a lot of us just don't know what to do flat out, right? Like, so in our world, like we are literally exercise scientists. Like science is our daily experiment with our people. Like we are exercise scientists. So we've devoted our lives to this. So there's definitely the education piece. You're like, okay, I want to go and learn there. But you talked about accountability. So maybe people do know what they should be doing, right? But it's like, do you do it? And if you don't, why? And that's the problem that a coach exists to solve. Right. So you said there's a lot there. And I really do. I'm so glad that you took that leap, unemployed at the time, because now we're sitting here today, and that was CrossFit Akron. Yeah. So let's fast forward a little bit. You guys moved to Johnstown. Yep. And how did you find us?
It's a funny story. When I first moved down here, so Dan moved down here in September, and I couldn't move down until I got a job. So I moved down, I want to say like middle of November. Okay. And I was looking for a CrossFit gym, and I was just Googling, and I found CrossFit New Albany. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I went to CrossFit New Albany, tried out for a couple weeks, and there was nothing wrong with it. It was a perfectly good gym. They had, great equipment, nice coaches, but it just wasn't for me. It wasn't, I was looking for like an environment similar to what I had come from, and that just wasn't it. And, it's funny, I probably would have found Veneration sooner had the bridge on Main Street not have been out.
Forgot.
Yeah.
It was the bridge, and then when the freaking bridge was done, it was the whole road.
Yes.
Like, so we were there for a year, and the whole year there was no access to the gym. I forgot about that. Okay.
I remember that. Yeah. So, it was funny. Then the bridge, I think it opened up around that time, or I went around or something, and I drove by and I saw CrossFit on the side. I'm like, wait, what's this? So I went home and did some more Googling, and that's when I found you. And then that's when I called, and I quit New Albany and then came to see you guys.
Well, I'm very glad that you found your culture and your tribe. That makes me happy. I've been a member at every gym in a 50, 100 mile radius, and there's nothing wrong. We're all on the same mission, right? Like we're all trying to, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I would sure hope, right?
Oh, for sure.
But there is something to be said for, if nothing else, for culture. And
just going off that a little bit more, I was thinking about, I remember walking into Veneration, and it was just like the one rig and some barbells and just concrete floor everywhere. And I remember like there weren't any rowers, there wasn't anything. I'm just walking in, like checking it out. And I remember asking you, like, how do you do handstand push-ups? I don't know if you remember this. And you're like, oh, we just like ball up some sweatshirts and do.
Wow. What a...
And I just remember thinking to myself, like, all right, so I need to go buy an ab mat. Nothing
oh
like...
Oh my gosh, is that what...
Yes. Whoa. I remember thinking that, like, never thinking like, oh my gosh, like I need to get out of here. I was like, okay, I just need to get an ab mat. So, I'm not doing handstand push-ups on concrete.
That is one of the coolest things that I have ever heard someone say, like a history story. Because I have a similar one. So we had an open house on October 3rd, which would have been a Saturday, 2015. And I know that because October 5th was day one. It was Monday morning, right? And some people came in, and I'm not sure if they were actually like interested at all, or if it was like somebody from somewhere else that was just like trying to see, which is totally cool. Like I've done the same thing. Like I would go see what's up and support the community, whatever. But whoever it was very, very concerned that there was no rowers, to the tune of being like rude. And of course I'm coming off of like 11 months of just like nose to the grindstone trying to get this thing moving. I'm just excited to connect with people, right? Like I'm devoting everything to this, and it was just like a really nasty interaction. But what a good filter, right? Because today, like one of our, I guess you call it like a tagline, is like, we're coaching, not access. So like my team could do what we do right now on the town square with nothing. Like we can absolutely, because it's about the coaching and about the accountability. And it's really nice that we have a world-class, like the best of like world-class facilities. That's cool. But what a great filter for good people, right? You're like, okay, cool. I need to go get an ab mat. Yeah. But we're attracting the right type of person.
And what's funny is you got ab mats like 2 days later. Yeah, another funny story. I was like, when you sent me these questions, I just was thinking, I remember when you did get rowers, speaking of rowers, and I think we were just like all just cycling through them, and Jake was in front of me in line, and Jake gets on, he's like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just rowing. And that made me think, it's been crazy just seeing like how much like you, Courtney, and Jake, the original coaches, have grown so much. Like it's just crazy to look back on all of that. Like, all of you were like novices to, the business of CrossFit, and now just to see how far y'all have come, it's amazing.
That's super kind, and I appreciate you bringing that up, because it's like I love a good trip down memory lane, and you're the one to talk to. So I mean, you said November.
Or no, I started in December, middle of December.
And so we're 2 months in, right? Like as green as they come, and I do not like the phrase like fake it till you make it, like because in our world someone gets hurt, right? That's detrimental. So we were certainly not teaching anything that we didn't know how to teach. Short of the rower, apparently. Well, Jake wasn't a coach at the time.
Just like jumped on
him. But what a cool trip down memory lane. That's awesome. Okay, so I want to know, what stands out as your biggest accomplishment, or the thing that you're most proud of since joining us back in 2015?
That's a good question. I don't know if there's, anything in particular. The main things that I've noticed about myself is just I've gotten a lot stronger, and I feel like my movements have become a lot more refined. So I would say those are my biggest accomplishments. I still can't do muscle ups, but that's okay. I'm just glad that, I've been able to get stronger and been able, to be better at the movements, because it's safer.
I have so much to say. I'm going to save everyone, but like, just such a good example of CrossFit done right. And, we can preach until we're blue in the face, and we can teach and cue until we're blue in the face, but it takes you being receptive to that.
Right.
And, you are just a poster child for CrossFit done right. Like you don't do anything crazy. There's nothing like anyone listening. There's nothing that Lauren does that is crazy, right? She's not doing a shred. She's not doing a 30-day get fit shred. Like you're consistent. You do the dang thing every day, and you're smart. And if something doesn't feel super right, you scale accordingly, you modify accordingly. And there's a reason that you get stronger, because you can't just wish for strength, or you can't just get strong super fast. It takes time, like 9 years. And just so many great things there. You're a great lesson for so many people. Refined, great word. And then we've talked about our values, and of course you fit into you define happy very, very well, but we talk about humble and humility, and not getting too high or too low. Right. So you celebrate your wins. Yep. Heck yeah. I've seen you jump and do a heel click. I've seen you. I have pictures of it. Okay. She's the resident photo bomber. I was going to
say, it wasn't when I was photo bombing.
Probably. You say it like it was a single event. It's every time there's a camera in the building, you're photo bombing.
Yes.
So you celebrate your bright spots and your wins. But then you move on and do something really cool the next day. Yeah. And you certainly never get to, or you don't express it or behave in a way that says you get too down on yourself. So, super awesome. What is on, I'm so excited to hear this answer. Because what is on your radar? Like, what's next? What are you pursuing?
Yeah, so I think right now, I feel like I since I was pregnant and then gave birth, I feel like I've taken a few steps back. Just, obviously I'm not as strong as I was. So I think at this point it's just being able to get back into the gym for one thing. And then just, getting my strength back. And I know it's going to take time and I'm being patient with it. But yeah, I think that's what's next, is just getting back to where I was.
You have your CrossFit level 1.
I did. It expired in May.
It's been 5 years.
Yeah, it's been 5 years.
Holy smokes.
I know, right?
We'll talk about that. That is insane. Mm-hmm. Wow, time has flown. The sickness, wellness, fitness continuum, right? So you can see it, right? It's like the upside down U, the arch. You can quite literally bank your fitness. What a blessing that you had devoted so much time, energy, and effort prior to giving birth to a child, which I can't, and I have more respect for anything. I'm so glad that God created me unable to birth a child. But can you? I'll ask you, like, can you imagine not having banked and essentially stored the fitness that you have prior to this wild experience in your life?
I will say too, so I had a C-section, so I had abdominal surgery, and I feel like I healed up pretty quickly after birth. And I think a lot of that is due to the fact that, I did work out during my pregnancy about, 6 days a week. On my due date, I was doing wall balls. I don't know if I should admit that or not. But I think that helped a lot with
Here's what's cool to admit. It's cool to admit what you did on due date. It's not cool to admit how tight the leash has had to be on you since coming back from the time between birth and coming back to the intensity in which you. No, you're doing a good job. I'm just giving you crap.
I think Gabby was just ready to strangle me because she didn't want me to do the jump rope. I'm like, Gabby, I'm doing this jump rope.
And it's probably because, again, talk about you being a topic of conversation. It's like, listen, Lauren's going to come back and try to go way too hard.
I didn't, though. I was good.
I think I
surprised everyone.
I told you you're doing a good job. Yeah. You're doing great. It'll pay off in the long run, too. You not only have been doing something for a long time, but you have been doing it consistently for a long time. Like, you're not a hot and cold. You go through highs, lows, dips, like I said earlier. What motivates you to continue to maintain that consistency and keep training at Veneration?
The first thing that comes to my mind, probably not the best first answer, but I think part of me is a little bit afraid that if I stop, I won't start back up. So I think that's a big part of it. But also, I just like doing it. I like CrossFit. I haven't really found a reason to stop doing it. It's a great way to stay in shape. For me, it's also my social hour, a good way to unwind after work. So yeah, I just like it. I enjoy doing it.
I need to make sure that we carve out a piece of our marketing budget to pay you, because you're saying all. You're like, turn the camera off, like, you're doing a good job. Keep saying.
Passing money under the table.
Say the next thing. Open your book. Say the next thing. Yeah, you're saying all the right things. Social hour. It should feel like a birthday party, not a science experiment. Yeah. I hope we do a good job of doing that, right?
It doesn't feel like a science experiment.
Thanks to you and Grice. And no, that's super great. And you described a habit. So that's one of the most common things as coaches that we hear is like, I'm really struggling with motivation. And my response to that is like, okay, let's address motivation. If I do this for a living, right? Not workout. I am a coach and I run a business. I run the gym, and I should probably lead by example, right? If I only worked out when I was motivated, I'd work out on Monday mornings. Because then you're sore.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And then the week happens, right? So eating well and exercising is not about motivation. It's about habit. So you've created a habit that have you ever heard Jerry Seinfeld talk about the Red X system? He was talking about writing jokes. How did he create his content like back in the day? And he had a calendar, like a physical calendar. Today we have Google Calendar, but he would draw a red X. Each day he wrote a new joke. And the goal is to never break the chain. Just baby steps, one joke, one punchline every day. And so you have created habit. And what really throws me for a loop is like, okay, well, now that we've kind of ruled out motivation as the fueling factor, let's go ahead and address it. If it is the fueling factor, what's more motivating than like adding 5 years to your life? So
Yep.
You're doing all of that very, very well. I'll step down off my soapbox now, but dang, like you're just saying good stuff. So what would you say in any aspect of your life? Like what has been the most like challenging aspect of your journey that you've overcome?
That's a good question. So growing up, my mom always put me in situations where I was like a small fish in a big pond. They never put me into a situation where I would automatically succeed. So I don't know if you knew this, but growing up, I rode and showed horses. I had 2 Morgan horses growing up. Okay. One Clipper, he was my show horse. I got him when I was 12 years old. He was 7. And in the Morgan world, I don't know if it's like this with other horse breeds, but the more money you pay, the better horse you get. Well, my parents didn't have $30,000, $50,000 to get me one of these really good horses, so they got me Clipper, who was $10,000, still a lot of money. But he was not really a junior exhibitor horse. So working with Clipper, it was very, very difficult. He was a challenge. I learned a lot from him. So, for years, I really struggled, but, looking back on it now, it made me a much better rider. And I think even it made me a more humble person, because I didn't just, go in and automatically win. Like I really had to work for it. Like there'd be times in the show ring where Clipper would blow up, or he would not go into the show ring because there was a puddle. So I think my biggest accomplishment would be, it was kind of like towards the end of, I would say, my showing career, I got a reserve championship, which was great. And, the judge actually came up to me, and the judges, at least for me, usually didn't do that. And he was like, I saw you were really trying out there. And he's like, you did a good job. Don't give up. And that was huge. Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah.
What a blessing to be not set up for success necessarily, right? And that is super cool.
Yeah, and Clipper's still alive. He's with my parents. He is, like 26?
How long do horses live? I have no idea.
About 30, 40 years.
Oh, wow. That's super cool.
Yeah, so
what a cool stinking story. That's so cool. That's really neat. What, who would you say has been the most influential person in your journey?
I would say my mom. My mom, she's truly a selfless person, especially, when it comes to me. She made sure, that I had a really good childhood. Like I said, she put me in positions that I feel like actually, set me up to do well in adulthood. Like she let me fail. She let me fall down. But, she was also there to pick me up and help me. So I would say definitely my mom.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to mom.
Yeah, she still does that today.
Sweet. Hey guys, I'm going to pause the conversation for just a quick second, and then I promise we'll get back to the show. But first, I need to ask you a very important question. Have you been working your tail off in the gym, but you're struggling to achieve results as quickly or maybe as profound as you would like? Do you feel that you've got a pretty good grip on what to eat, but you come up short on actually doing it most of the time? Do you need a total reset on how you've been eating? If any of those sound like you, my friend, you don't have to struggle alone any longer. Our professional coaches of Veneration Nutrition specialize in teaming up with working adults to establish a realistic action plan when it comes to their nutrition. No fads, no gimmicks, no cleanses, no shake plans or 30-day challenges, no quick tricks, strict paleo, keto, zone, none of that. We actually won't even put you on a meal plan. Instead, your Veneration Nutrition coach will meet you right where you're at in your life right now and team up to establish new habits that are sustainable and make sense in your life for the long run. You won't go hungry, you'll eat real food, and you'll set yourself up for a lifetime of healthy living, not a quick 20-pound loss that you'll gain back in 3 months. If you're ready for some help from a professional coach who's been where you're at and understands your struggles, let's put this whole diet thing to bed once and for all. Click the link in the show notes to book your free new member consultation so we can sit down to learn more about your health and fitness goals today. If you're a current member of Veneration and you're interested in talking to a nutrition coach, you can use that link as well, or you can speak to one of your Veneration coaches anytime and we'll get you taken care of. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Today.
Sweet. I just talked to Ryan Hosak about parenting and about stealing opportunities away from your kids. So like the literal example, like if your child falls, your natural instinct is pick up your child, right? I want to see them happy. I want to see them up on their feet, not scraping their knees. But every time I do that, I steal an opportunity from my child to overcome adversity. And we know that adversity leads to adaptation, and that's what you're describing.
So when you ran him into that like electrical box out there, you didn't run over and be like, "Hey, are you okay?" You just
get up.
Yeah.
Stop being a sissy. No. We're wrestling now.
Oh, okay.
And he starts everything. It's his fault.
Oh, yes.
But he's a headbutter and he's a curb stomper. He ran across the couch the other day and kicked me in the face hard. And then why was Courtney's nose, I'm pretty sure, is broken right now. I forget what he did to her. No, he's like, and not like violently, I guess, but just excited and like full tilt.
He's just, he's 2, almost 3?
No, yeah, he's on the way to 3.
Jeez.
We need to find like a simmer button with baby girl on the way. Cause like he needs to, I think we need to get him a baby doll. That's what Court told me.
Oh, to kind of like just teach him like what a baby is. Yeah.
And how to like be nice.
Yes.
Calm down.
Yes.
He's a good kid.
Don't hit the baby.
He's just wild.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have a ton of questions prepared for you. I've asked a lot of them, but I want to make sure I don't miss anything here because you're great story and awesome lessons. Like, here's a Veneration question. I'm really interested to hear this one because very few people come in with experience. That might be surprising to people, right? Like you see a bunch of fit people working out. It's like, well, my gosh, like CrossFit's for fit people.
Yeah.
And understandably a misconception, right? Like people get in shape pretty quick here. We're training in what we believe to be the optimal way. People get in shape. It can be intimidating.
Yes.
Most people don't come in with experience. You did.
Yes.
What is something that you wish someone would have told you about our gym, about Veneration, before you joined?
Ooh. Well, like I said, the location would have been great. So I, would
just where the hell it's at.
Yeah, so I would have wasted 2 weeks. I don't know if this answers your question, but kind of like one of the reasons, why I photobomb and, just make silly faces and gestures or whatever is because, you see all these gyms and they post these really serious photos of like these really jacked people lifting really heavy and they have these serious faces on. And it's like, no, like you want to come to an environment, that's fun and, where people are open and you don't have to be the most fit person. So, part of the reason why I'm like, jumping behind the background is to show like, hey, this is a really fun place to be. This isn't just for, like the super jacked, like want to go to the CrossFit games.
That is awesome. So you, back to our marketing budget and you needed to be included because you come and save my day where I'm a very, I suppose it'd be like a type A. I was like, my anxiety runs through the roof. So I overplan something and it's like, hey, Storm, that picture that you guys have set up over there does not represent what we do here. Someone smile, like do whatever you need to do and you come save the day on it. So,
because CrossFit, it's fun. It should be fun. Like I said, when I come to the gym, it's a social hour too. So I think people should know that.
Amen. I love it. Well, thank you for saving my day in our pictures. That's good. Next photo shoot. We never do a photo shoot. It's always just live in a class. We call it a shoot. The next scheduled day that Sam is coming is it's a Friday, which I think is August 27th or 28th, and it's in the morning. So we never get to capture any of the morning people doing their thing.
Yeah.
So I'm
gonna miss it.
Oh dang. I have enough.
Like, oh darn.
I have enough pictures of you photobombing people.
Just being ridiculous.
Just kidding. Got a couple more questions for you, and I do want to give you a chance to talk about anything that we haven't talked about. Okay. But my question for you is, if you could remove all barriers, so any obstacles or any barriers, what is it that you would pursue? passion project, whatever.
If I have a passion project, I don't know. No, it's gonna sound corny. I won't say that. I know I will. So I feel like if there's something that I want to accomplish or I want to do, I try to find a way to just do it. Like I said, like for example, like, I want to be on the podcast. So instead of waiting to be asked, I was like, Storm,
That is so awesome. That's such a cool answer. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
But it's like, yeah, like Storm, I want to be on your podcast. Like, let's make this happen. And probably like 10 years ago, I never would have approached things that way. But I would say, now as an adult in my 30s, like if there's something that I want to accomplish or want to be part of, I just insert myself in it.
What changed? Why? I mean, so you mentioned just like being into your 30s. What is?
I don't know. I think I've just become more confident. I was never really a confident, kid or young adult. But yeah, I just think my confidence has grown.
I'm not in any way, shape, or form taking credit for this as
I just want to taking credit for
I'm not. I want to make sure that that's very clear. Because I mean, like, veneration or not, like I didn't create the methodology. We just use it because it works and it's freaking awesome. We make a very bold claim that, and it's almost a plead to people, right? People that are on the fence or like don't know, or again are nervous because they don't feel like they're not fit enough. Or whatever.
Yeah.
We're like, look, if any of these apply to you, if you're like just kind of like your light's been dimmed and like you're not feeling like your cup is full and you're not being like, you're not living your best life, you're not feeling your best self, maybe you feel like you're working in a job that you're not making what you should, you need a promotion or a raise or a new job, a new career path entirely. Maybe you have not connected with your spouse the way that you want to, or your friends or your family. If you want to improve any of those things or anything else, give us 6 months to work with you, because the common denominator there that will improve everything is your confidence. You will find the confidence to either step it up at work and earn the raise, or ask for the dang raise that you've deserved for the last 3 years that you never got, as an example. And so yeah, what a cool like example and case study. You just forced your way onto a podcast, and here we are. I forgot that you initiated it. I just, to be honest, like well,
I mean, you were busy. You were like handing out popsicles, so
it was that day.
Yeah.
I thought I approached you. I would have never known. So you could have just snuck right on, and I wouldn't even. That's funny. Before we wrap it up, we started this conversation by saying like, I wanted to ask you an open-ended question and get to learn about you and your Lauren story. Now that we're nearing the tail end of this conversation, unless you want to keep talking, what is something that I did not bring up that you wish we would have talked about?
It's funny. Anytime I get like asked an open-ended question like this, my mind goes blank, and then there's nothing.
Just nothingness.
Initially I thought I would share more about my CrossFit journey, but we would be here forever. So I don't really need to get into that. I feel like I've already talked about it quite a bit.
Okay, there's something in there though, and this is why I asked this question. There's a story that you want to tell about your CrossFit journey, at least one that we didn't touch on. What is the story? There's got to be something.
Do you want a positive story or?
Let's go. Do you have positive and a negative? Is the negative at Veneration?
No.
I know.
No, you know the negative. Well, here, I don't know if this is necessarily a story, but just kind of going back like 20 minutes in the conversation about, why I decided to stay at Veneration. So like I said, came in the first day, it was just concrete and a rig and some barbells, no ab mats. I forgot there were no rowers. And I just remember like thinking to myself, like, this gym, it's in its infancy and there really is no culture yet. And I want to be part of defining that culture, which, how many people can say they have that opportunity? And the one thing I love is, obviously, this wasn't intentional, but CrossFit Veneration reminds me a lot of my old gym, and I loved my old gym. And so I just say that's just a positive,
cool,
CrossFit experience.
If I was in your shoes, something that would probably come across my mind is like, okay, back in 2015, there's not a floor mat here, so it's all concrete, and like there's very a scarce amount of equipment, but there's people in here.
Yeah.
What's going on? There better be there has to be something here. And I would want to go figure out what the heck that is. Right. And like you said, get in on the ground level. Yep. And you have absolutely been a defining cornerstone to what veneration means and the family that has been created. So thank you.
It's cool to see how much it's like, changed and evolved over the past 6 years. Awesome. It's very cool.
Hope for the better.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay, so hey, let's do this. Everyone is on the edge of their seat. They want to hear the not so positive story.
Oh, my sad story.
Yeah.
So, like we talked about before, I worked out at CrossFit Akron for about 3.5 years before I came down here. Very sadly, soon after I left CrossFit Akron, they ended up closing their doors for a variety of reasons. But I would say this was maybe 2 years into being there. The head coach, absolutely great guy, phenomenal coach, was working out with, just doing the daily WOD with the group, and his brother was there. So, they all do the workout and, they're just kind of sitting around, stretching out, just talking. And they noticed that, his brother wasn't moving, and they're like, oh, he's just tired from the workout. Right. So they go over, and the people who are actually working out, there was a first responder, there was a nurse. He didn't have a pulse. He ended up passing away.
What was the cause?
It was an undiagnosed heart condition. It had nothing to do with CrossFit. It was just an undiagnosed condition, and it just, happened to flare up during the workout.
And it was his brother.
It was his brother.
Unreal.
Yeah.
So I knew the story. I did not know that it was his brother.
And unsurprisingly, he ended up leaving after that. Like, how do you stay?
Can't wait to go to work tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah, he ended up leaving, and I feel like that was kind of, at least in my opinion, when the gym kind of started going downhill.
It takes, I don't even want to imagine what that position is like. It would take some very unique, not better than just a unique type of leadership to be able to.
Exactly.
And it stuff happened. People, I mean, from again unrelated reasons, right? Things happen, and then communities like rally behind, but.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Just very sad, very tragic situation.
And so what happened to Court recently, right? Do you know about the whole SVT thing?
And I heard, I saw what she posted, but no, I didn't hear about it.
Dude. So it was a Monday. Great start to the week.
Oh, no.
It was a Monday. And this is going to be very telling of my, I'm in the health industry, but not the medical field. So this is going to be very, very telling of my, I'm not too prideful to share my lack of knowledge here. She in college did something triggered during a physical or something that she might have had some kind of irregularity in her heartbeat. So she was on a monitor for this was in 2015, as we were up in the gym and stuff. But nothing came of it. Everything came back negative, all good, whatever. So nothing. There's been nothing, no sign of anything. So on this particular Monday, a month ago or 3 weeks ago, we were in Coach LA's 415 class. I was in the front, and Court was in the middle back. And I remember she was being real weird. She was usually bubbly and energetic and whatever. And I remember her being real, just even keel, just and I was I kind of saw it. And then the warm up picked up a little bit. We were 6-7 minutes in. And so I kind of was zoning in and starting to become a little bit out of breath. During the initial warm-up, her heart rate was at I think 70 or 80, normal warm-up, whatever. She had her Apple Watch on.
Yeah.
She bent down as we got into the press progression. She bent down to pick up her barbell, so 90 degrees, and her heart rate spiked on her watch to 210. Oh. 210 beats a minute. What we learned later is that it was actually around 235. The older Apple Watches max out at 210. So she went into, I guess, what's called SVT. You familiar with that?
No.
This is where I botch it, but it's okay. I'm going to give it my best go. It's the electrical components of your heart. So again, nothing that certainly nothing wrong with Coach LA's warm up.
Yeah.
Normal warm up. It was 5 minutes. She's just getting her blood flowing quite literally and her core temperature up. But the way they described it is because she's pregnant and the excess fluid, the blood in her body, that it dumped into her heart on the bend over, right? And screwed up the connection between like the electrodes or whatever on the heart, like the positive and negatives, the things that create the like boom, 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 boom. So her heart was fluttering for 45 minutes. So we ran her up to the fire station. And of course, she's also a registered nurse, so she knows all the terminology. Mm-hmm. I'm an idiot. So I'm in the squad and they're like doing all the different, the pads and stuff, like, mm-hmm. and they're like, yep, you're an SVT. And she's like, stayed calm. And I'm like they're all communicating. And I'm like, what's SVT? Someone help. And then they kicked me out of the squad because of COVID. I couldn't ride, so I had to ride over. No. And so I stayed cool because they're just doing their job.
Yeah.
And I never want to follow my wife to the hospital while she's in a squad again.
It's terrifying.
So now she's got a heart monitor on for the next couple more weeks, mm-hmm. and knock on wood, there's been no incidents since. They're saying that it's likely that it continues to happen while she's pregnant, and there's some procedure that can be done afterwards, but mm-hmm. she put it back into rhythm. I guess you can like bear down or like blow, if you like blow through a syringe or a straw, because it's like you're bearing down to do it. And almost to the hospital, she was able to get it back in rhythm.
Wow.
But here's a cool testament to community. Here's the positive around that. We're just sharing like shitty stories.
Very scary things.
Come try it out. It's a blast. Had nothing to do with what we're doing. Like we're doing human movement. From the time that happened, mm-hmm. She's the one who's going through it. We're surrounded by our people at the gym. Okay. She's also beside a first responder, Jeremy. Mm-hmm. Jeremy drops his bar, takes her into like one of the offices where it's quiet, assesses the situation, says, yes, we need to get a squad. So he called the squad. I ended up just running her over real fast because we're like a half mile away, literally like 800 meters.
Wait, you ran to the fire?
I drove her over.
Oh. I was like, wait, what?
That seems counterproductive to the whole high heart rate thing. So we get over there. I know all the, we're a small town, a small mm-hmm. little city soon to be. I know all the people there. We get to Riverside. Amy Jordan's her nurse.
Oh my God.
It's just like, through a crappy time, mm-hmm. all of our people, all of our circle, this community that has been created here, mm-hmm. we never were alone. It was all our people. Our son is with Amy Trottvine, mm-hmm. who is a member and one of our best friends, and like is like family, taking care of our son during that time. He ended up out at my dad. Like, it's just you count your blessings, and definitely. so grateful to the point where I can't express in words like what has been created here in the family that is Veneration. The workouts are pretty cool too, but it's it's so much more. So much more.
Oh, I agree 100%.
So, well, I'm glad I asked that question. Thank you for sharing your good and scary stories. All right, I got a couple more for you, and we're going to wrap it up. First, how do our listeners connect with you? Like, if someone heard a story that they want to tell you how cool they think it is, obviously they can drop it in the comments. What's the way that they connect with Lauren?
I guess on social media.
You're a Facebooker?
Facebook and Instagram. That's all I got.
Sweet.
That's all I have time for.
Now there's so many.
TikTok
and
right.
Blah, blah, blah. Cool. All right. Final question.
Yes.
How do you, Lauren Wehrung, not Wehrung, how do you, Lauren, define a successful life?
Oh, that's easy. Just being happy.
Awesome.
Yeah. Easiest question.
If you're happy,
yes,
that's success.
Yes. Everything I can only speak for myself, but I feel like everything I do, is to bring happiness, to myself and to others.
Awesome.
So yeah, just being happy.
You walk the walk. I will say that wholeheartedly. You do.
I would say overall, I'm a pretty happy person. Obviously, can't be happy all the time. There are some good days, bad days, some days where I'm just content. But yeah, I'm happy with my life.
Here's the thing with that happy value. We don't when we define like happiness as one of our core values in our tribe here. It's like we don't pretend that all things are good. Like we're not trying to. Like, it was what you're describing. Like things aren't always good. I'm not always happy.
Yeah.
But we choose to find the good in everything.
Exactly.
And you lead by example. So freaking awesome. Are you signed up for the throwdown?
No, I don't have anyone to watch my baby.
Dan.
I think he's scared to be alone with the baby for that long. Plus, like, he can't really feed him.
Okay, how old will Jonathan be in 4 weeks, 20 weeks old.
Yeah.
Bring him.
Just bring him.
It's a big family party.
Well, I was planning on coming and just, maybe drinking a beer on the sidelines.
Deal.
But a lot of it's the whole feeding issue.
Yeah.
Dan can't feed him, so.
Understood.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see you there regardless.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch. It's going to be interesting. It's on your property, right? Or your family's property?
It's going to be fun. We've tested all the workouts. Again, that part is going to be awesome. But what I'm really excited for is after the event, there will be like a podium ceremony.
Oh.
And then we're having a cookout. Nice. And then we have a really special, even better than like the podium awards or whatever, is we have our first ever tribe awards. So we will be awarding our members based on our core values. The team has voted on them. We have stories to share for people. So it's something that nobody wants to miss. It's going to be very cool. We have, I think there'll be some really cool moments that night. So
that's awesome.
Excited to see you there. But Lauren, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I think your story is going to resonate with a lot of people, inspire a lot of people. I promise you, I'm inspired by your story. I'm glad you forced yourself onto the podcast. and I'm really excited to follow up with you here in a few months just to talk about progress. We have to do this more than once every 6 years.
For sure, yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
And have a great day, everybody. See you later.